From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is a Thunder update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Thunder beat writer Brett Dawson. Well, Brett, we're a day from Game 2 of this playoff series against the Jazz. After Game 1, Thunder coach Billy Donovan repeatedly said his team needs to be better in Game 2 than it was in Game 1, and it was a pretty decent performance in Game 1, a win for the Thunder. What is your sense of where the Thunder needs to most improve in Game 2?
Well, it's interesting. This is playoff B. Billy Donovan's not really the guy who typically kind of rains on the parade when a team plays well. Normally, it's kind of the other way around. We've seen this season when the Thunder hasn't played well, he's come in and talked about the things he liked. So a little bit of a different approach for the playoffs. I think there's a couple of things. The Thunder got really hot, obviously, from three-point range. Paul George in particular shot the ball so well, 8 of 11. There were a lot of kind of mid-range jump shots, the kind of shots that you're going to have to take some against Utah because you want to pull Rudy Gobert away. You want to make sure that he's not contesting some of those shots. But they want to get some stuff in and around the basket more. They got outscored 50-32 in the paint. They'd like to get a few more post-ups. I talked to Steven Adams yesterday saying you can't be afraid to post up Rudy Gobert because while he's a great shot blocker, a lot of great shot blockers aren't necessarily great post defenders. So offensively, you want to attack him, you want to get some more stuff going inside, and you want to be a little less reliant, I think, on the jump shot. What about defensively? I mean, we saw that Donovan Mitchell, obviously fantastic rookie, gonna scored 27 even with a bad toe, which sounds like that could linger, but he's probably gonna play. But the Thunder decided Paul George goes on Joe Ingles. They're not gonna allow him to shoot astronomical numbers from three. Defensively, were they in a good spot? Do they need to do some adjustments? I'm sure that the Jazz will be adjusting into Game 2. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the question. What does the Jazz do differently? One thing the Thunder did really well that I'm sure the Jazz is going to address, Ricky Rubio took too many shots. He took a great number for the Thunder. But when he's up in that 20-shot range, that's great for Oklahoma City. It's not so great for Utah. So we're going to see an adjustment there. I think we're going to see a little bit more of an attacking Donovan Mitchell. And so that begs the question whether Corey Brewer can handle that assignment. It's going to be some team defense. They did very little of Paul George guarding Donovan Mitchell, and the reason is because they wanted Paul George to kind of eliminate Joe Ingles. He did a great job of that. Joe Ingles 1 for 5 in the game the other night when guarded by Paul George. He was 4 for 4 when guarded by anybody else. So they did a good job there, but they might have to change up some of that if Donovan Mitchell gets more aggressive, if he kind of gets going. Interesting to see how much that foot bothers him. Paul George kind of the same thing. He's got a hip contusion. We'll see if that's a nuisance for him. But the Thunder needs to, I think they've got to, one thing is that they've got to do a little bit better closing out the game, and that includes defensively. They kind of lost their focus a little bit. Can't really afford to keep doing that. But I think the key thing is going to be what adjustments does Utah make with Mitchell, and what does the Thunder do to adapt to that? You mentioned Paul George's hip. Obviously, Corey Brewer and Alex Abrines played in Game 1. There were some questions about Steven Adams. Give us a little injury update if there's anything to update. Seems like everybody's okay. Corey Brewer, I think, told our Eric Horn that he was about 80% for the game. They did a pretty light practice on Monday. There was no contact, so everybody participated in practice. Everybody but Andre Robertson, obviously. But everybody who's going to play in this series participated in practice. Everybody was full go. Not a lot of contact. We'll see, they'll practice again on Tuesday, and we'll see who's able to go. Steven Adams, Billy Donovan said, is fine. Appeared to, maybe he hurt his funny bone, maybe he hurt his hand a little bit on that dunk, but seems to be okay. Paul George said he's not going to sit. He's good to go, and he was able to practice. All right, we'll continue to follow those storylines and so many more. You want to stick with us? Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.